that kind of ties into my overreaction because while I think Sam Darnold has played well and is playing at MVP level through the first 4 games of the season, I think that Justin Jefferson should be the favorite for MVP.
Ooh.
He's not putting up the stats that we're accustomed to, which as a receiver, you kind of have to. Like the last non-quarterback, and I could be wrong about this, last non-quarterback to win the award was Adrian Peterson, and he nearly broke the rushing record and went bonkers over the final 2 months of the season. But Justin Jefferson's third in PPR. So, those of you who took him on your fantasy team, like the Christian McCaffrey with the second overall pick, and he hasn't played a game for me yet all year. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Weren't Brees Hall and McCaffrey like the first 2 picks this year that everyone wanted?
I think maybe for running backs.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you took a running back in the first round, unless his name was Derrick Henry, right, you're probably not doing too well in your fantasy league. Entering the fourth quarter, Justin Jefferson had 27 yards receiving.
Yep.
He finished with 85 yards and a touchdown. And you discussed Sam Darnold, the way that he's playing right now under Kevin O'Connell, but everything runs through Justin Jefferson. Even when it doesn't run through Justin Jefferson, you want to shut down. I mean, you could hear the Packer fans yesterday being like, oh boy, we shut down Justin Jefferson. He's only got 27 yards going in the fourth quarter. We didn't even need Jair. This is great. The problem was you were down 28-0 at one point because of this. And Jalen Naylor had a long reception in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. Jordan Addison was wide open for a touchdown in the first quarter. Then he scored again. So he had 2 touchdowns in his return. And then you also have Aaron Jones doing his thing in the backfield. Justin Jefferson is like the NBA player that spaces the floor. Like Timberwolves just traded Karl Anthony Towns. One of the reasons why Towns is a great great player. He's a 4-time All-Star. He's a former. Yeah, I'm sitting here because it's a hard case because there are times where Towns.
He's a Pro Bowler.
He's a Pro Bowler. There you go. But I mean, you have that player that spaces the floor. And it's like, all right, well, we can't let this guy beat us. But everybody else is wide open, just knocking down shots. And you're like, okay, we got to do something here. And by the time the Packers were like, okay, we got to stop everybody else, Justin Jefferson's getting open. He's making big catches which helped the Vikings win the game in the second half when they were kind of slowing down. So I know that it's a quarterback award. I know a quarterback's probably going to win it. And we're not even going to talk about Justin Jefferson. But to me, Justin Jefferson is the Vikings MVP, and he should be considered for the NFL MVP because we know a big blow-up game is coming at some point. And it could be Sunday against the Jets. It could be against the Lions, whose defense a little shaky. Yeah, Justin Jefferson's my MVP right now.
Do you think if the Vikings were 2-2 or 1-3, he'd be making a little bit of noise about not getting the ball enough?
I think so, maybe. But I mean, winning helps everything, don't you think? I mean, how many targets does he have? That's a great.
Yeah, he still has a bunch. I think he's still leading the team in targets because I think he had like 8 yesterday, and he's still the ball's still being thrown to him. Even when he's completely blanketed or double covered, but and I'm sure he realizes he knows he's been in the league for a while that people are gonna, pretty much just put everyone on him. But like you said, teams doing that creates opportunities for Jordan Addison, for Aaron Jones in the screen game, for Jalen Naylor. Like so, yeah, it's just like he does so much more for the Vikings that goes unnoticed. I think he even had a key block on the Addison touchdown yesterday on the end around. So like, yeah, and in the locker room too, like he's a team captain. Like I don't think I've ever heard of him being, creating problems on the sideline or in the locker room. So yeah, I could see that, but yeah, it's tough in the NFL because quarterbacks just have the ball in their hands for the majority of the time. So people just point to them immediately as MVPs, and unless you have a season like an Adrian Peterson did in 2012, which I don't think that'll ever happen again. Unless I guess running the ball is kind of coming back this year because teams are just shutting down the pass game and more teams are doing better at running. But I just don't think it. There's no more like bell cow running backs. You talked about Derrick Henry before, but he's like a dying breed. But yeah, I think it's a case to make. But yeah, the odds of Justin Jefferson. Let me check his odds actually real quick to see if he even has any for MVP.
While you do that, I'm going to look right now and just see what we got for targets. Jefferson, 6 targets against the Giants, 7 targets against the 49ers, 8 targets against the Texans, and 8 targets yesterday against the Packers. Most of those coming late in the game. So, I mean, like I said, it's just a matter of spacing the field. And Justin Jefferson demands so much attention that other guys are eating. And by the way, the Vikings are going to get even better, especially when TJ Hawkinson comes back, because it's like that's another thing you have to stop. So when I look at this team, I get very optimistic thinking, hey, this is not a fluke. This is a team that can do some damage. And I don't know. I made my overreaction, and I think that's overreaction. The receiver winning MVP.
Yeah, FanDuel's got him 22nd in MVP odds right now at 80-1. Second highest non-quarterback behind Saquon Barkley, who's 75-1. So yeah, it's tough when you have when guys like Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers have higher MVP odds.
Just make it most valuable quarterback then.
They really should in the future. They should just have a separate quarterback award because it's just turned into this like MVP is just like, okay, which quarterback's better? And then they kind of reserve offensive player of the year for the best non-quarterback, really, unless quarterback just has an insane year. But yeah, I feel like in the future they probably should figure out a way to just have a separate quarterback award.
And you know what? Patrick Mahomes is going to win it.
Yeah.
Because everybody on Kansas City is hurt right now. So if they go to the playoffs and they look great.
Yeah, I don't know. They look like, remember, didn't the Eagles start like, did they start like 11-0 last year? Or
yeah.
They went, but they never felt like they were
contenders.
Good. And then they weren't. Like that, it kind of feels the same way about the Chiefs.
They're like
they're 4-0, but like, are you really afraid of them? Like, do you think I think the Vikings could beat them. Like their defense is really good, but I think the Vikings could beat the Chiefs.
2022 Vikings. That's what they are right now.
Yeah.
Like it's just okay. Patrick Mahomes, go win us the game. Oh, okay. Like, I guess
which is fine. He does it.
No. I mean, if I had Patrick Mahomes, that'd be basically it. But yeah, it's the Patrick Mahomes save us offense.